Imagine a city where boys left their families at the age of 7, where fear was considered a weakness, and where every citizen lived for one purpose: war. This was Sparta, one of the most disciplined and feared civilizations in the ancient world. Their courage became legendary. Their battles inspired generations, and even today, the name Spartan represents strength, sacrifice, and unbreakable determination. But how did this extraordinary warrior society begin? Let's travel back nearly 3,000 years to uncover the incredible story of the Spartan warriors. Sparta was located in the fertile valley of Laconia in southern Greece, surrounded by towering mountains that protected the city from invading armies. Unlike Athens, which became famous for philosophy, art, and democracy, Sparta chose a completely different path. The Spartans believed that the survival of their nation depended on military strength. Every law, every tradition, and every part of daily life was designed to create the perfect soldier. According to tradition, Sparta was shaped by the legendary lawgiver Lycurgus, who introduced strict laws that emphasized discipline, equality among Spartan citizens, and absolute loyalty to the state. Luxury was discouraged, comfort was seen as dangerous, weakness was unacceptable. Instead of building magnificent palaces, Spartans focused on building the strongest army Greece had ever seen. The Spartan government was unique. 2 kings ruled together, sharing military leadership, while a council of elders advised on important decisions. This unusual system helped prevent any single ruler from becoming too powerful. But Sparta's greatest strength did not come from its kings. It came from its people. Every Spartan male citizen was expected to become a professional warrior. From childhood until old age, his entire life revolved around military service. For Spartans, honor was more valuable than wealth. Courage was more important than comfort, and loyalty to Sparta was greater than loyalty to oneself. These values transformed a small Greek city into one of history's most feared military powers. Yet the true secret behind Sparta's legendary warriors began not on the battlefield, but in childhood. At the age of 7, a Spartan boy's childhood came to an abrupt end. He was taken from his family and entered a brutal training system known as the Agoge, one of the harshest military education programs in human history. From that day forward, the state became his family. Life inside the Agoge was designed to build fearless warriors, not comfortable citizens. The boys slept on beds made from reeds they cut by hand from the banks of the Eurotas River. They were given only a single cloak to wear throughout the year, whether under the scorching summer sun or the freezing winter nights. Food was intentionally scarce. The instructors wanted the boys to experience constant hunger. To survive, they were encouraged to steal food, but there was one strict rule. If they were caught, they were severely punished. The punishment was not for stealing. It was for being careless enough to get caught. This lesson taught them stealth, intelligence, and discipline, qualities that would later save their lives in battle. Every day was filled with relentless training. They ran for miles across rocky hills, climbed mountains, wrestled powerful opponents, practiced spear throwing, sword fighting, shield formations, and learned to fight as a single, perfectly coordinated unit. Strength alone was never enough. A Spartan warrior needed endurance, courage, and absolute obedience. The instructors constantly tested their mental strength. Pain was treated as a teacher. Fear was treated as an enemy. Complaining was forbidden. One famous Spartan saying captured their entire philosophy: come back with your shield or on it. It meant that a warrior must either return victorious, carrying his shield, or return dead upon it. Running away from battle was considered the greatest disgrace imaginable. As the boys grew older, the challenges became even more dangerous. They were sent into the wilderness with almost no supplies, and forced to survive using only their training, courage, and intelligence. Every test was designed for one purpose: to transform ordinary children into the most disciplined soldiers in the ancient world. By the age of 20, those who survived the Agoge had become elite Spartan warriors, ready to defend their city with unwavering loyalty. But the greatest test of their courage was still waiting. Soon, the Spartans would face an enemy unlike anything Greece had ever seen. In 480 BC, one of the greatest military forces the world had ever seen marched toward Greece. It was the mighty Persian Empire, ruled by King Xerxes I. His army numbered in the hundreds of thousands, according to ancient accounts, supported by thousands of cavalry, archers, and a massive naval fleet. City after city surrendered as the Persians advanced across Greece. The Greek city-states knew they could not defeat such a powerful invasion alone, so they formed an alliance. But there was one narrow mountain pass that could change everything. Its name was Thermopylae, meaning the Hot Gates. King Leonidas I of Sparta understood that this narrow passage would prevent the enormous Persian army from using its full strength. If the Greeks could hold the pass, they might delay the invasion long enough for the rest of Greece to prepare. Leonidas gathered 300 of Sparta's finest warriors. These were not ordinary soldiers. Each man was an experienced veteran who had survived years of brutal training and countless battles. Alongside them fought several thousand warriors from other Greek city-states, united in defense of their homeland. As the Persian army arrived, King Xerxes was confident the Greeks would surrender immediately. He sent a messenger demanding that the Spartans lay down their weapons. Leonidas answered with just two unforgettable words: Molon Labe. Come and take them. The battle began. Wave after wave of Persian soldiers charged into the narrow pass, but the Spartans stood shoulder to shoulder behind their massive bronze shields. Their famous phalanx formation created an almost unbreakable wall of spears. Every time the Persians attacked, they were pushed back with heavy losses. For 2 full days, the vastly outnumbered Greeks held their ground. The world's most powerful army could not break the Spartan line. But then, everything changed. A local Greek named Ephialtes betrayed his own people. He revealed a hidden mountain path that allowed Persian soldiers to march behind the Greek defenders. Leonidas immediately understood what was about to happen. Retreat was still possible, but he refused. Instead, he ordered most of the Greek army to withdraw and continue the fight another day. Leonidas and his 300 Spartans, together with a small number of loyal allies, chose to remain behind. They knew they would never leave Thermopylae alive. Yet they fought until their final breath. Surrounded on every side, the Spartans continued battling with swords, broken spears, and finally with their bare hands. Their sacrifice became one of history's greatest symbols of courage, loyalty, and honor. Although the Persians won the battle, the legend of the 300 Spartans would live forever. The fall of King Leonidas and his warriors at Thermopylae was a devastating blow to Greece, but their sacrifice achieved exactly what they had hoped for. It bought precious time. While the Spartans held the narrow pass, the Greek city-states prepared their armies and strengthened their defenses. Across Greece, news of Leonidas's bravery spread like wildfire. His courage inspired thousands of Greeks to continue the fight. Soon after Thermopylae, the Persian navy faced the Greek fleet in the Battle of Salamis. The Greeks, led by the brilliant Athenian commander Themistocles, lured the massive Persian fleet into the narrow straits. The larger Persian ships struggled to maneuver, while the smaller Greek triremes attacked with speed and precision. By the end of the battle, much of the Persian fleet had been destroyed. It was one of the greatest naval victories in ancient history. King Xerxes, realizing that his invasion was in serious danger, returned to Persia with much of his army. 1 year later, in 479 BC, the remaining Persian forces faced the united Greek armies at the Battle of Plataea. Among the Greek soldiers were thousands of Spartan warriors. The Spartans fought with the same discipline and courage that had made them famous throughout Greece. Their powerful phalanx formation overwhelmed the Persian infantry. By the end of the battle, the Persian invasion had failed. Greece was free. The sacrifice at Thermopylae had become the turning point that helped save an entire civilization. The Spartans returned home as heroes. Their story was no longer just about victory in battle. It had become a symbol of honor, duty, and courage against impossible odds. For generations, young Spartans grew up hearing the story of Leonidas and the 300. It reminded them that true strength was measured not by survival, but by the willingness to stand for what was right, no matter the cost. The legend of Sparta had only just begun. After the Persian Wars, Sparta became the most respected military power in Greece. Its fearless warriors were admired by allies and feared by enemies. Across the Greek world, the name Sparta became a symbol of discipline, courage, and unmatched strength. For many years, no army dared challenge Spartan soldiers in open battle. Every Spartan citizen dedicated his life to military service. From the age of 20 until 60, a Spartan man was expected to serve as a soldier whenever his city needed him. Their daily routine never truly ended. Even during times of peace, they continued training with spears, swords, shields, and phalanx formations. To the Spartans, victory was not achieved through individual heroics. It came through unity. Every warrior protected the man beside him. Every shield defended not only its owner, but the entire line. This unbreakable discipline made the Spartan phalanx one of the deadliest fighting formations in the ancient world. Meanwhile, Sparta became the leader of the Peloponnesian League, a powerful alliance of Greek city-states. But as Sparta grew stronger, tensions with another rising power also increased. That city was Athens. Unlike Sparta, Athens celebrated democracy, philosophy, trade, and naval power. The rivalry between these two great cities eventually exploded into the Peloponnesian War, a conflict that lasted nearly 30 years. The war exhausted both sides. Although Sparta eventually defeated Athens, the victory came at a heavy cost. Years of constant warfare weakened Sparta's economy, reduced its population, and placed enormous pressure on its military system. Fewer Spartan citizens were available to become soldiers. The legendary army that had once dominated Greece slowly became smaller. Then, in 371 BC, Sparta faced a new enemy. At the Battle of Leuctra, the Theban general Epaminondas introduced brilliant new battlefield tactics. For the first time in centuries, the Spartan army suffered a crushing defeat. The myth of Spartan invincibility was broken. From that moment, Sparta's influence gradually faded. Its empire disappeared, but its legend never did. Today, the story of the Spartan warriors continues to inspire soldiers, athletes, and leaders around the world. Their courage at Thermopylae, their discipline in the Agoge, and their unwavering loyalty to one another remain some of the greatest examples of determination in human history. The city of Sparta may have declined, but the Spartan spirit became immortal. As the centuries passed, the mighty Spartan Empire slowly faded into history. Its armies grew smaller. Its political power disappeared. Eventually, Sparta was absorbed into larger kingdoms, and the age of the legendary Spartan warriors came to an end. But something extraordinary happened. Although Sparta disappeared, its legacy survived. For over 2,000 years, military commanders around the world have studied Spartan discipline, leadership, and battlefield tactics. The famous Spartan phalanx became one of history's most influential military formations, inspiring countless armies that followed. Yet Sparta's greatest lesson was never about winning battles. It was about courage. The Spartans believed that true strength came from self-control, discipline, loyalty, and sacrifice. To them, honor was worth more than life itself. That is why the story of King Leonidas and his 300 warriors still inspires millions of people today. Their stand at Thermopylae proved that courage is not measured by numbers. Sometimes a handful of determined people can change the course of history. Modern soldiers, athletes, firefighters, rescue teams, and leaders often use the word Spartan to describe someone who never gives up, no matter how difficult the challenge. Even today, visitors from around the world travel to Greece to see the ancient land where Sparta once stood. At Thermopylae, a monument honors King Leonidas. Carved beneath his statue are words that have echoed through history for centuries. Come and take them. Those words became a timeless symbol of bravery against impossible odds. The city may have vanished, the empire may have fallen, but the spirit of Sparta never died. It lives on in every story of determination, in every act of courage, and in every person who chooses duty over fear. The Spartan warriors remind us that history is not written only by the strongest armies. It is written by those whose courage